for ages upon ages within a great age called the age of darkness. Throughout this age of darkness, meaning a time period where the mystery of God, and you'll find that in biblical scripture also, if you write that note down, write out about the mystery of God, read Revelation 10:7, and you'll see certain parts. God didn't approve, and I put God in quotation marks, okay, for a very specific reason, because when you're saying God, you're not always talking about the same group of beings, okay? So God didn't approve of this advancement in technology and came down unto the earth, scattering those people about the earth realm, confounding their tongues, that they would not be able to comprehend each other. Confusion. This is what the word babble means in essence. To babble is to speak in a manner that is incomprehensible. The city was called Babel because of that same reason. Babel or Baalel in Hebrew refers to or means to confuse or to jumble. I said you can read that in the book of Genesis chapter 11 verse 9. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound their language of all of the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of the earth. Okay, so I was in one of these clubhouse rooms, and I was speaking on this. Somebody said, yo, you making things up. And I had to pull this out for them. I said, yo, it's in the book. You know what I'm saying? I'm just showing you how all these things tie into each other linguistically. You may not have ever figured that part out, but these things are still there for you to go and find out for yourself, to see that, yes, the reason why it ain't just so I'm just making words sound the same and all this other stuff that people be trying to emulate. No. You go and read it and you see why I'm able to connect these dots for you. Because all the sacred sciences were hidden in the language, for one, and in your genetics. And from genetics, certain ways that we were being spoken to as a child and certain things that we were learning, there were parts of our being that were activating certain ones of us, that when we read certain things and see certain things or come across a certain type of piece of information, something will be revealed to us that wouldn't be revealed to the person who didn't have that activation. But that's fine, because it will be our job at that point to just show you. So they called it Babel because of confusion and confounding, and the language was confounded. So Babylon, Bab-el, I'll break that down also, because Bab is Set. That's another name for Set. If you want to look that up, Bab is another name for Set, which is the god of confusion. Only reason why people think I'm reaching, you know what I'm saying, is because they so damn far away. If they walk up, they'll realize that they can stand with me. I don't got to be reached. And I tell people, if you see me reaching, then grab what's in my hand, because I definitely got something for you, and you should be standing all the way over the fuck there. You feel what I'm saying? Come nearer, and then it'll make more sense. This shows the whole of the story is speaking of something that took place that caused for an age of confusion, to emerge an age of darkness, as darkness also means a state of unknowing. If I leave somebody in the dark, I think I broke this down. If someone is kept in the dark about something, they won't know of its origins when it comes to these things. Someone comes along with the true light and exposes them to it, they'll be able to fully understand that something, just like I've been doing for people. All right. They'll figure out the answers to the questions they may have had about that thing, and they'll be able to sum up all those figures of that something. So did I create the information? No, I didn't create it. I'm connecting dots for you. The information is already out here. We just connect dots to show you, hey, look, all these things have to be in some type of alignment for you to have this type of existence here. These things have to connect. It's up to you to figure out what this non-dualistic reality of connectivity is. That's your job. And if you find people that come along and they can explain it, okay, then you get that explanation and then take that further. You understand? Because it's not the doctrine, it's the understanding. Once you have an understanding, you don't have to be taught something anymore. Once you have that understanding, you start learning more on your own. You can look at something and read it and break it down. You start becoming an alchemist. You understand? You become the healer. You become the teacher. And that's what the goal is, because we have to yield more people who take more accountability and take more action in this day and time. And we don't need just people sitting around waiting for it. No, we need more people active. A lot of teaching has to take place for that to happen. That's a fact, which is why we're here. But after that has been done, then you'll see, as you can tell, Malachi York came onto the scene in the 60s. You understand? And they came and took him in 2002. They came in 2002. I was born in 98. You understand? I didn't get to grow up around him how the Ansars did. I didn't get to grow up around him how some of these Nubian brothers and elders did, or these Sabian now brothers and elders. I didn't get to know that. But then you see who's standing out here the strongest and the firmest on the information. Why? Because it wasn't just about the doctrine. One of the brothers was standing there with me. They had this event about 4 weeks ago. And one of the brothers was standing there with me who found me on the social media sites. And he was explaining to one of the Ansars, one of the brothers, the elders, that he met me, teaching the information. And the brother said, what you just teaching the doctrine? And I said, no, it's not just the doctrine. It's a type of genetic activation. The doctrine was supposed to show you to that genetic activation. But once you get the genetic activation, it transcends just doctrine. You understand? That's what you needed to wake up. When you wake up, now you still got to do stuff. So the alarm clock is the doctrine, yes. Then after you woke, what do you do now? You just sit there in bed. You know what I'm saying? You got to get up and start your new day. All right? That's what you have to do. So whoever this God is that is being spoken of was for the confusion of the people. When people speak of God, they usually associate that word with a characteristic or a quality of a specific being that is good. Okay? God, however, is only a word, and that word doesn't mean good. Are y'all with me? It's merely a word that describes a being that is revered or a being that is relatively more powerful than others, or a being that is of a higher status than others. So the question is, are there other gods than the God that you think you're speaking about when it comes to the Bible? If you answer no, you didn't read the book, because they said, thou shalt have no other gods before me. So if they saying thou shalt have no other gods before me, they know that there's other powerful motherfuckers. That was in Lil speaking, by the way, but that's a whole other conversation, because there were other Enad or Arvido who had other projects rolled out, like Inky had his own projects rolling out. You understand? These half-brothers and these other fleets of beings is what they were really saying. Races that were similar to each other in the fact that they were hominid, but they were not exactly the same beings. They were half-brothers or half-kindred. You understand? But they weren't really family. Oh, you get me? Meaning they were not the same race of beings. So there were different gods or different rulers. Baal was a ruler. Don't tell me he wasn't a ruler. He ruled over people. He had people worshiping, and then they mix all these stories in. Go read Leviticus. You will see how gruesome shit is. Like, you just read it, and you'll see how many times you got to slaughter a fucking animal. You know what I'm saying? You done did some shit, and in order for you, all right, what did you do? They committed zina or adultery. Okay, go grab a bull, put your hand on his head, and decapitate it, and let it bleed out. Why? The bull is like, yo, this some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't do nothing. They sinning. They out of order. Why the fuck do I gotta keep getting killed? What's this burnt offering and the pleasurable aroma that you're talking about when the burnt offering is going up? Who was actually the God that required people to be sacrificed and beings to be sacrificed? That was Baal in them. Don't tell me that the creator of the universe needed you to bleed out animals. Don't tell me that. There was a different group of beings that did different things. And Baal had not only animals sacrificed, they had children and other people sacrificed. Why? Because they were actually flesh-eating beings. That's a whole different race of beings. But in the books, they lay it out as one God doing all this shit. No, it's a word. It didn't mean a being is a characteristic of one person. They did that on purpose. Because why? Because confusion. You understand? So what did I say? It's merely a word that describes a being that is revered, or a being that is relatively more powerful than others, or a being that is of a higher status than others. You understand? It doesn't have to be some super spiritual stuff. You could be a guy if you're Barack Obama, because people were worshiping him. And they followed his orders, and he was a ruler. You understand? So think deeply about this following question. What God would advocate for, induce, or cause confusion? Okay, what God wants the earth realm to be in a state of darkness? Because the state of darkness allows for human beings to be trapped and enslaved, never developing or evolving into the gods that they are capable of developing or evolving into. Correct? Okay, so what God is the God of, or the author of confusion? Because you tell me that the God that you're supposed to be speaking about, which is another race of beings, they're not the authors of confusion, the ones who brought forth the metal nectar, or the ones who brought forth the tablets before you called them the tablets of the 613 laws of correction. You understand? That already existed. And I'm not talking about the 42 principles or the confession. It's another conversation. People, that's misconstrued, because that was speaking about something that happens when you're in the halls of what you call thought or menti or duat, where you have to confess to certain things, why they call them confessions. And that was dealing with your frequency of, after you cross that threshold, you can't change nothing else. After you cross that threshold, if you still have the weight from this, that, and the third, they were saying that you'll be too heavy, which is why they showed you that they have to say that your heart was lighter than a feather so that you could ascend and go into a realm that you have to be lighter to go into. Okay? And all of that has to do with your mentality or your consciousness also. But again, you know what I'm saying? So the laws that we were talking about was, there was order that was set up, orders, through order, that was set up and about order that was set up to stop people from being confused. So they were not authors of confusion. Tahuti was not an author of confusion, was he? So if Tahuti wasn't an author of confusion, and they put in your book, God is not an author of confusion, and they tell you God is not an author of confusion, okay, well then Teo or Tahuti or Ta, which is the grand architect, the original scribe, Tahuti, the one who originally wrote, the first writer that you have in history, okay, or documented history, the first writer is Tahuti, and he was not an author of confusion. And the ones who were giving him the information, the sisters that you don't speak about, who are ISIS and the rest of these people, they did not speak confusion either. They spoke for balance and order. Ma'at was about balance and order. Okay, so who is this God or author of confusion? Which God was the one of confusion? That's Set, and we'll get into it. You understand? So does there exist such a code hidden within that word? I said that question brings us back around to the word Babylon. Does there, I said, there's a code hidden within that word. I am saying to you that the whole of the world became Babylon. It was not merely a specific place on earth, but the whole of the earth worldwide. This is because the world was ruled by that exact God of question. And that God is mentioned in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. Okay? And even if our gospel, which is what? Our angel or our evangel, gospel or word of life, okay, which will be opposite the gospel, okay, which is a whole different conversation. Even if our gospel is veiled, what is veiled? Hidden, right? Or kept away, okay, or concealed, Masons. Even if our word, I don't know if people understand how deep it is, so I'm going to say it one more time. Even if our word of life, our message of life, our meduneta, our sciences from Kemet, or from the beginning lands, or the places where the continents were before the continents split, Atlantis, whatever, even if our message of order or age of reason is veiled or concealed, it is veiled to those who are perishing. The God of this age, world, is literally what they say in certain translations, age, okay? The God of this age, which also has to be world when you say olam, all right, I think I break that down to you also, has blinded the minds of unbelievers, or kafaroon, okay? So that they cannot see the light. Are you hearing me? So in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4, they tell you who this God will be and what it will be pertaining to, the age of darkness. Okay? Even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing, death. So gospel, evangel, message of life. It is veiled to those who are perishing, dying. The God of this age, did I write this or is this in the scripture? It's in the scripture. The God of this age or world has blinded the minds of unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel, of the glory of Christ, which is an ancient Egyptian word which means anointed, Christ, all right, who is the image of God. Okay, I said when you see the word age, think of the word olam, okay, which means Hebrew, it means world, and also means eon or age or time period. So alam, and it also is olam, where you say one word, but it's alam, means hidden or concealed, as in the darkness. I said, can you see the code? The age of darkness was the age of concealment. That's the age or the world being mentioned in the scripture. All right, which is 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. I said, and also in the book of John, chapter 14, verse 30, hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh and hath nothing in me. I said, so this God or prince or El is none other than Satan, the adversary or the opposition. This world has been overseen by him, and I put / them. Okay, because I have to speak in a way that you understand first, but I have to take you beyond all this spooky shit. All right. They have their tower, I put that in quotations, set up on the earth called Tiamat or Gaia or Eridu or Ard or Edenu or Ki. All right. When I tell people, when you hear people say planet Ka, they got that from Ki, which was in the Holy Tablets, Malachi Yor. All right. Now look again at the word Babylon. I said the code hidden there is decrypted when you separate the words in tone. So I put Babylon, which is Babylon, and then I put Bab with the dot in the center, Elon. So Babylon, and then you have Bab Elon, as in Elon Musk. Yes, as in Elon Musk. Bab Elon. Hey, hold your head together, because your brain will get blown if you ain't holding it together. Okay? Bab Elon, Babylon. I said Bab is one of the names of the prince or god of darkness called Satan, also called Set. Set is the god of violence, chaos, and disorder, and confusion. What a coincidence. Although depicted as the one who spears Apep, the serpent in ancient Egypt, both Set and Apep are agents of chaos. The allegorical extraction is that Set or Shaitan oppose Shaitan oppose the true light or the order. They disturb the peace. You understand? Elon or Elon, because I say Elon, E-L-O-N, okay, or Elon is a Hebrew word, by the way. What a coincidence. Elon in Hebrew means oak tree or simply a tree, which is symbolic of a tower. And how is that? Well, you can read in the scripture where they talk about going around. They were telling people, they were ordering people to go around and cut down the Asherah poles, which were also did a whole different conversation, because those trees were the trees of the matriarch Asherah. And that ties you way back to a whole different Islamic conversation of Soretic, where you start learning who the Assyrians are and what that order was fashioned after, Isis or Eshtar, Ishtar. And that's the woman. So in George Washington's story, where they say they cut down the cherry tree, that's the matriarch. With the Moors still use that flag with the red flag with the green star in the center, because that green star or that emerald-like being, that woman, is the one that they cut down, and they call her Asherah in your story. Okay, so that woman wanted order, not chaos. All your fucking homeboys, did y'all read it? I don't know if you read the story, but when niggas needed proof that niggas was down for real, niggas was like, hey, kill everybody, and then I'm gonna see if you really about that shit. Bro, you are God. What the hell are you talking about? You can't tell me that this is the same one who was supposed to be accredited to bringing peace to earth. These are two different beings. Only a certain type of being would be like, hey, look, you want to prove that you my homeboy? Kill your son. What? And then you about to do the shit because you don't know what the hell going on. And then they say, hey, I was just playing, bro. You don't got to kill him this time. You know what I'm saying? Nah, you ain't going to have to do that, bro. Well, you crazy hell. I thought you was, hey, look, I was just trying to see if you was down. That's another type of being. And those beings were all about blood and war and barbaricism and confusion. And so you get me? One day it's going to be clear. Of course, you can merge them all into the same book and it's the same person because you're using a word that applies to multiple different stories. You feel me? All right. So Elon becomes tree. All right. Symbolic of a tower, as in the Tower of Babel. Stay with me. Does not the word or the name Elon ring a bell? There is a being here moving in those tones called Elon Musk. And this man, Elon, is known for his project called what? Okay, somebody with me today. You know what I'm saying? Because we talking about the Tower of Babel, where they were trying to reach the heavens. Okay, and you got this tower called Elon, which is a tree. And what is he? Oh, nobody's with me. Nobody's with me. It's me by myself in here today. Okay, this man Elon is known for his project called SpaceX, which means what? Space exploration. That's what it means. Same thing these motherfuckers were trying to do in Babel or Babylon with the Tower of Babel. Okay, dealing with production, testing, and the launching of rockets or towers. Correct? Is not a rocket a tower? Okay, when you look at a rocket, are you looking at a pole? Okay, when you're looking at a tree standing up, are you looking at a pole? Are you looking at the tower, are you looking at a pole? You're looking at a pylon, are you looking at a pole? Okay, so Elon, the tree, Nimrod's tower, is launching rods into space again. They've been doing this shit since the beginning, you understand? But it's a different story from a different polarity, correct? So stand with me. Elon Musk, all right? Dealing with productions, testing, and launching rockets or towers that sit up on the earth with the ability to reach God or the heavens or outer space. Just as it was mentioned in the book of Genesis chapter 11, verse 4. Okay? And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven. That's a rocket ship. All right. Elon Musk and his SpaceX project. I put the image there, okay? I said, so let's do another break. I hope nobody missed the fact that I told you that's a rocket. It's also a Stargate, the technology too, but that's a different conversation because that takes you to the gate word. But you have to deal with the pylon word too, which is a tower. Okay, but I'm going to show you how all that connects because there's different technologies that people were finding out about, but it was certain guys that didn't want human beings to find that technology, so they destroyed them or they were spreading them out across the planet. They took the sciences, they coveted it or covered it up, all of that. You understand? Okay, so let's do another breakdown or build up of the word Babylon. We moving forward. This time, we're going to take this word Babylon and we're going to flip the second letter B upside down. So we say Babylon, we say Pylon. Babylon. You see how we flip the B? The second B gets flipped up around to a P, correct? Stay with me. Pylon. And Bab literally means Set, which is Seti, which is Satan, which is Shaitan, Satan, Seth, Zena, Senna, Zeta, Zuin, Suin. These are all the same characters or the same orientation of people, okay? Pylon is a tower. That's what it literally is. So Bab Pylon, correct? So what are the odds? Okay. That word pylon refers to the ancient Egyptian gateways that led into the sacred temples. Correct? Okay. The etymology of the word pylon brings us to the word pulon or pule, which means gate. What a coincidence. It is no coincidence at all that the word Babylon itself ties you etymologically to the word Babylon. Am I making this up? No, I want you to go look into what I'm saying and make me a truth teller. To the word Babylon, and that word means gate of God. So I'm going to read it again and show you how all that ties around. We did Babylon, we broke down Babylon. We Bab Elon, the tower, okay, or the tree of Elon. And Saint Elon Musk still sending them towers up there, or them rockets up there, okay. The word pylon means a tower, okay. Bab Pylon refers to the ancient Egyptian gateways that lead into the sacred tower. Somebody at the door. On me. Y'all give me a second. It is. The world or age of darkness has come and went. Bab or Set or Satan has his pylon or his tower or his gate set up on the earth in the world of or the age of darkness. I said the year 1 AD came in with the announcement of the last days of the moon cycle. Set appears in Greek as Seth, which if you look at the letters, it looks like Eno. Word O-N-E, if you flip that Greek word Eno around. The year 1 AD marks the beginning of the end of one's or Eno's rule. The beginning of the end of one. Okay, so you hearing me? Anno Domini, right? Anno Dominion, we can see another code that hints toward what type of dominion we were heading toward after the fall of the moon. Anu is the Sumerian word for sky or the heavens, and it is also the Sanskrit word for after. So with the hereafter, the world that exists here after the fall of Babylon, comes the dominion of the sky or Anu, which is Anu Dominion. You understand? So Anu Dominion. Remember the prayer from the book of Matthew 6:9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, our Father which art in where? Anu, the sky. Heaven, okay? Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debt as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Okay, so that prayer was to be answered in the book of Revelation chapter 21. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, Heru, Salom, Heru, Horus, the sun, sky, also dealing with Heru, the sky god, literally. And Salam, abode of peace, not confusion, tranquility, okay, or order, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And God himself shall be with them, and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death. Pay attention. Neither sorrow nor crying. All this happens in a world of confusion, correct? Okay, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. So what God was running it before he showed up? Are you with me? Who was the God of the world that was doing all this stuff? Who were they? Before this person showed up and gonna make all things new and cut out, meaning that they would cut out all the stuff that was happening before that moment. Are you with me? I hope you're catching it. God or Anu comes in with Anu dominion. Now, when I'm saying Anu, go look up that word as the being who was called God in the ancient Sumerian tablets. Okay? God or Anu comes in with a new dominion or a new dominion after the fall of Babylon or Bab's pylon. Right? Y'all give me a second. Or Bab's gate or tower. Of a new world order is actually what people have been praying for throughout the ages, within the age of darkness. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's a whole new world order or a whole new world. You understand? I said the challenge is to get the people to understand that we have the power to usher in our own OWN new world order. We can take the so-called elites plan for their new world order NWO and reverse it. Flip it around. That NWO becomes our OWN. Some of y'all caught that before I laid it out. I see you. It's imperative that we, the people, aren't fooled into thinking that these so-called elites who follow the other L, like I broke down to you in my book, How to Speak Elite. When I say L, it's L-ite. Ite is a suffix that says they following somebody. But what L's are they following? And L just means God. That's all it means. It don't mean that the same guy all the time. Because El Malak. You gonna tell me Malak is the same guy as Elion? Okay? Because Eon or Elion will be another type, a whole different type of beings. Okay? So who follow the other L or the other God or gods or goddesses? Okay, goddess or goddesses are the only ones who can bring in a new world order. That's not true. Okay, so the organizational aspect of the new world order concerns invested families who have planned for over a century to take over the world. You can find people like Adolf Hitler connecting the words new world order to Nazism, which is basically rearranged occultism. Okay. From these ideas was born the idea of world domination and population control. Now watch this where it's going to get a little more interesting, okay? Whenever people think of the latter, they may have in their minds a thought of depopulation and or genocide. I offer that you look at the words population control and see that it is saying in the words exactly what is meant by the words. Population control is about herding the populations of people into one way of living until those populations become a single population under the control of the God of darkness. That's what it really is saying, y'all. Okay? Being that this new world order as an organization, because it's not just an order, it's an organization as an order, okay? And as a dominion or an authority has been taught about for decades, people have developed their own theories as to its origins and its plans. I said the theories are all over the place, yet they are still on point to a certain degree. Like when it comes to the mysterious Georgia guidestones that were created in 1980 by R.C. Christian, a secret person, I put the S there, persons, because it's not just one person, all right? On those guidestones appear a message with it written in 8 different languages. You got English, Hebrew, Arabic, Russian, Hindi, Spanish, Swahili, and traditional Chinese, okay? That message was formulated in a similar manner to that of the Old Testament's 10 Commandments and was referred to as the 10 Principles. Go look all this up. I'm telling y'all, I'm making none of this up. I'm saying was because as of July of 2022, after they were quote unquote attacked, I put quote unquote there, via explosives, they are no longer standing as, even though only one of the stones was destroyed by the blast. The GBI still had them torn down completely. Okay, they said they did it for quote unquote safety reasons. And so the quote unquote 10 principles were laid out as follows. Watch this. Maintain humanity under fire. Now watch this. Some of y'all, a lot of people, this may be your first time actually hearing what's on the stones. Most people only heard about the 500 million population shit and ran with that for years. Imagine you got people teaching about the stones, never read what was on the stones. People like Isis Wisdom was talking about some plasma bomb destroyed it because our intergalactic ancestors was concerned about some blowing onto the planet Earth and that they had to blow up some stones to free us from these. Bro, listen, people like that, they don't know what the hell they talking about. These are other people that just be running their mouth. Because when I ask questions about it, it becomes a problem because they didn't know what they were talking about. She don't ever know what talking about. I don't know why people just be following people. You understand? So I'm about to read them for you, what was actually said. And I want you to listen to the message of these stones and see if this sounds like some diabolical plan to commit genocide, and destroy the world, y'all. I want you to listen to this, and I want you to decide for yourself after hearing it for the first time, most of you, does this sound like a plan to destroy humanity? Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Did you know that balance was with nature was in that statement? No, you didn't, because you thought that it meant that they was going to kill everybody and leave 500 million people left. Okay? Maintain doesn't mean kill. If I want to maintain my money, that don't mean I'm making money. If I'm trying to maintain, if I got 5 bands, I'm going to maintain that 5 bands. Shit, I'm going to maintain that 5 bands. That ain't no income. That's maintenance. That's making sure that that shit stay where it's at and however it is. So maintaining humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Okay. Guide reproduction wisely. So far, I don't feel like I'm in danger from this shit if I follow this. Guide reproduction wisely. Improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity. Now, this is as far as most people have ever got. Unite humanity with a living new language. What I just talked to y'all about. The language that was confounding the tongue, confused everybody. A living new language. Unite them with that. Why though? Because Genesis 11, go read it and you'll find out why. Because when you have one language, which is one type of understanding, which leads to the same thing, the science. Not saying you got to all speak the same exact way. The science, then you can't be, nothing will hold you back. Your free energy concept is no longer just a dream or a vision. You will understand what it means and how it fuels these breakaway civilizations and all this other stuff. You'll become the ones who had the information. Okay? Unite humanity with a living new language. So far, I don't understand why the fuck my ancestors would pull up and blow these stones up. So far, though. Maybe maybe something else will pop up. Change my mind. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Okay, so far, no, ISIS, I don't get it. That don't make no sense. What the hell are you talking about today? My ancestors pulled up, our galactic ancestors pulled up because they were doing some diabolical shit. No, you should have probably read the shit instead of going, get off TikTok. People that be doing that TikTok shit, they don't be knowing what the fuck they talking about. They just stand in front of a picture and just talk about shit. They put the Google images there. They don't know. You understand? It's a million videos saying the same shit and none of them read this. Millions of videos saying the same shit. But nobody ever read it. It's 8 lines. No, it's 10 lines. It's 10 lines. That's all it is. It would have took you all of 2 minutes to read it. So, of all these principles that seemingly foreshadow an apocalypse, yielding a post-apocalyptic world, most people only quote the first principle and use that first principle to help express their concerns and theories of depopulation. The only thing about that is the words were to maintain a population of 500 million. I put an underline sentence. The words were not to get the population down to 500 million. This doesn't rule out the possibility of what people assume to be a diabolical global genocidal plan being developed and implemented behind the scenes. However, this message seems more of a message of reason and what to do after an apocalyptic event took place and how to avoid taking the pathway that led to destruction altogether for future references. So why you think they wanted them bitches gone? Okay. People be cheering for the wrong shit. That's how you can tell who really know what's going on for real. Everybody always cheering for the wrong shit. Get off the wave and you'll be able to understand. This message was misconstrued. And so when the stones were destroyed, people celebrated, especially the religious people, as they thought that event to be a sign from God. It is my foreknowledge and intuition that leads me to realize that they are sadly mistaken. It may have very well been the other way around, being that the capstone, I put that in quotations, but there was a capstone too. It wasn't just those ones that I read. All right. That rested on the top of the slabs read, let these be guide stones to an age of reason. So when I said that the age of darkness is falling, Moon, Luna, Baphomet is over, and they put on the guide stones on the top of it, called the capstone, they literally put on the top of it, which I ain't never heard nobody say, let these be guide stones to an age of reason. Now, if you think I just figured this out, you got to go to Clubhouse. You got to get caught up, because I've been talking about this since before when they came out and was saying all this stuff about the stones being blown up and all this. I was bringing down to people all this type of shit. You understand? So let these guide stones be an age of reason. And I put Re as in Ray, Ra, the light, a sun, Sham, the light, the age of light, not darkness. You hear me? Okay. Sound right reasoning, by the way. That message was written in 4 different languages, including classical Greek, Sanskrit, Egyptian hieroglyphs, and Babylonian cuneiform. The point here is the people or person who constructed the stones were speaking to the future. These were not members of the Illuminati or the elite Satanists. These were people, or was a person, who wanted there to be a guide for the meek, who would presumably inherit the earth post-apocalypse. This would not be the works of one who believed in the New World Order as it has been presented, because that's an order, one built on disorder that will benefit the elite and the elite only. R.C. Christian was a Christian, not a Satanist. What type of Christian was he? It's in the letters. R.C. He was a Christian who rose up and saw what all this was really about. He was a rising Christian or a risen Christian. He was Damar Hamlin. He was the lightning that struck the statue. And boom. You understand? He believed in the order of Christ, who came after the order of Melchizedek, whose order was fixated on righteousness and justice, or order, as opposed to disorder. Are you with me? So Georgia Guidestones, I put the image there. I say, so do understand that when it comes to this reality, there are 2 masters, 2 forces, or 2 Els, or Elis. One Eli is the lamb, and the other Eli is the goat. This gem shows up in the biblical scripture in the book of Matthew, chapter 27, verses 45 and 46, where the one called Jesus, or Yeshua, or Jehovah, or Elias, or Isa, was said to have cried out, quoting Psalms chapter 22, verse 1, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Okay, and so I'm revealing to you that which was revealed to me in spirit, that the Eli is there to connect that reality of those 2 forces, or 2 gods, as in 2 different Elis or Els. Those 2 Elis are the lamb, which in Hebrew you say lama, becomes a question, why? All right, and I'll break that down. And the sabak, which is sabachthani, all right, which is forsaking me, but sabak will also be resting or sleep. Okay, so you will find sabak in the movie Black Adam. In that movie, there were 2 sides fighting over what was called the crown of sabak. This is similar to the concept of the beings called the Transformers from the Transformers franchise fighting over the Allspark. I said, take note of this verse from the Holy Quran. And when the word is fulfilled against them, the unjust, we shall produce from the earth a beast to face them. He will speak to them, for that mankind did not believe with assurance in our signs. That's the Quran chapter 7 verse 82. I have explained before that the Quran and the science within it is the crown. The Quran, or the crown, it's all the same. You say the same shit phonetically, possesses the code. When you think in terms of the crown or the Quran, which is the Greek word for the god of time, you are brought to the word corona, accompanied by the secret or sacred number of the Quran, which is the number 19. There appears the code, and it showed up for you plainly. Corona 19. I mean, it can't be more clear than that. That's why I said you think 19 know what they don't know. They just saying some stuff that was the 19 keys. The keys of 19, or the hidden keys of 19, is some shit that comes straight from the Quran. But people are taking on these names and these things to understand what it means right now would be different. To recite some shit that's been said by the imams is a whole different conversation. The imams broke it down to a certain level, but that passage, rite of passage, would have showed you what was actually happening for this day and time, which was called the day of Revelation, which is why when I put out the information of Revelation, I did notice that 19 keys literally came out and posted the same shit I said after I said, Ye is revealing people. And I put in my caption, almost word for word, and then came out and said, word for word, what my caption was, that this is the day of Revelation, everybody got to expose themselves, word for word. I'm like, that's so interesting. You know what I'm saying? Because they all watching. They all see it. They all paying attention to it. Then why won't y'all just let people know I'm here so we can save time? Why nobody don't want to let y'all know I'm here? Why it took y'all this long to find me? You feel what I'm saying? But it's all good. It won't stop anything. It still has to get done. Yes, the sacred secret number of the Quran is literally 19. They, the elite, gave you that program. And in the 74th chapter of the Quran, which was called the hidden secret, all right, it was already laid out for you to figure it out. The message was over it is 19. Okay, it is over. 19. You rising up out of hell. So that 19, which many people have linked to be AI, being that the letter A equals 1 and the letter I equals 9, is the mark of a very important time period. This mark appeared in association with the mark of the beast to let you know what was coming. The war to raise up the fallen. They, the gods or the angels who wanted to help the human beings, came through and gave people signs through people like Prophet Muhammad or through Krishna or through Jesus. Yet it was also said that people wouldn't listen. It was already written that people would ignore all of the signs. So now Sabak and his fleet of Nephilim are moving heavier. They're sending out their soldiers first through machines like the music industry, okay? Those soldiers are responsible for affecting the frequencies of the consciousness of the human beings as the elite are preparing to bring hell or Hades to the surface. What a time to be alive. I literally wrote that in there so you can see where I was going with it. If you have been watching, you may have noticed that ever since the music industry started to lose pillars back to back over these past few years, since 2019 to 2020, artists with more positively charged messages, are you with me? Like Tim's and Aniko, have risen up in the algorithm. You may or may not remember, yet it is still a fact, that I uttered the prophecy back in 2020 and said that after a great group of stars fell, who remember? After a great group of stars fell, after a great group of pillars collapsed, after a great group of celebrities fell, other pillars of light would rise up to assist the efforts of rectification, and then the pillar of Faise One would rise up in the east. I said all of this. Tim's and Aniko were two examples of pillars that rose up with messages and tones of enlightenment. You can read the realm as I have taught you to, as I taught you how to in my other books and teachings and songs, and you can see when and why those two pillars rose up. These two artists were sending out messages dealing with the time we're in, where there's evidently a spiritual war taking place. Tim's, the name brings you to the word tempest, which is the Latin word for time. Iniko, the name, means the time of trouble. About a month after Iniko released the MP3 for the viral song King's Affirmation, the rapper called Trouble, y'all ain't with me, was killed by a man named Jamichael. I want you to look closer at the name of the murderer. Michael. Jah means God, and Michael means one who is like God. I said that name Michael is the name of a warring angel that is mentioned in the book of Revelation. He and his fleet of angels warred with and are set to war with Satan, the dragon, Tadanim, that old serpent called the devil. That's Revelation 12, chapter 7 through 9, if you need that. Now, I'm sure he probably went home and was just...
Turn into I'm tasty, I'm fun, balance breaks for everyone. Be in Lisbon.
You understand? So your obligations or your applications or vocations, you're going to have to do every day anyway. So regardless of what order you're